Right, this is my first time doing this. It's a good friend of mine from the States, and I'm recording the conversation, and I just thought I'd share it with you guys because we always have great conversations. So I thought, you know what, I'd love to record a conversation, put it out there so you guys actually see what I talk about, so you can understand the way my mind works and stuff like that. Anyways, enjoy, and do like, subscribe, comment, and share this video.
Hey, yeah, so go ahead, bro.
Nah, go on, what was you saying?
Oh yeah, so my question to you is, what do you think is the gap between someone that is thinking about their dream and someone who's trying to actively pursue it? What do you think is that gap? What is that missing gap? You know, and what is the gap one, and how can somebody close that gap?
For me, the gap is, you know, when someone has a dream and the gap between someone that has a dream and someone who's actively pursuing it is someone who has understood part of their trajectory. So when I say part of their trajectory, you don't have to have it mapped out all the way till the end. But as long as you have a little bit of it mapped out, that's all you need to get active on the dream, if that makes any sense. But what you notice is a lot of people that are probably still in just a dream state, they literally have no part of that journey mapped out. If you have no part of the journey mapped out, then you don't know where you're going. You don't know how you're getting there. You don't know what to do to even get there in the first place. So that's why I say strategy, 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 strategy. Like when people talk to me about business, for example, I always send them back. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. Go and write it down. Because I usually ask, have you written anything down? You know, have you done any market research? Have you done a SWOT analysis? Have you done a simple business plan? And what you find is a lot of people are lazy with it. They just want to, you know, they want to accumulate the thoughts in their head. But when it comes to actually putting certain things into practice, when it comes to practicality, they're missing in that zone. So when people come to me, I'm like, no, go and write a business plan. After you've written a business plan and it's giving you clarity, because a business plan potentially can actually give you clarity in terms of your trajectory, if that makes any sense. Right. You know, once you've done all of that, then you know where you're going. Then I can help you. Then we can talk. Then we can exchange ideas. Until then, you're on your own.
So now let me ask you. My question to you is, you said some powerful things, which is very, very important, like coming up with plans, strategy, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But how can one truly organize their thinking process? Because I think that people know what they want, but they think about it in batches.
Okay.
They can think about it in, oh man, I want to become a successful businessman. They see themselves owning big ass company.
Okay.
They see themselves driving this big car. Then they see themselves the day they start the business, then it stops there.
Okay.
How can they build a real journey, like from scratch? Like, you know,
okay,
like from their mindset to like what do they need to bring together? Like what is the recipe?
I'll tell you two things you need to bring together. Yeah, you need to strip yourself and you need to go naked, right? Wow. I'll explain that in a minute. And the second thing is you need to embrace the quest for knowledge. Right? That's the two things you need to do. So with the first one, when I say you need to strip yourself naked, what are your insecurities? What are your faults? What are your weaknesses? You need to lay it open, lay it bare, right? Make it glaringly obvious to yourself so that you can start actually touching on those points and fixing it. And you know what I mean by that, I'll give you an example. A lot of people have just general insecurities about, let's say, being able to afford nice things or being able to do things that other people are doing on social media. Until you put yourself in an uncomfortable position where you don't feel the need to do that, you can't elevate.
Okay.
You can't elevate. How can you elevate if you're still worried about spending £500 on the latest pair of designer stuff just to impress a bunch of nobodies that couldn't really give a shit about you?
But my question now,
okay,
because right now you are tapping a very huge topic.
Okay.
Somebody who's worried about big things or expensive things, or I'll say expensive things. Someone who's worried about things that they deserve.
Okay.
But due to programming,
Okay.
They think that dream or that stuff they desire is out of reach.
Okay.
Okay. So how can one change one's paradigm? Like.
Okay.
How can I shift? You know, how can I shift that mindset from scarcity to abundance mindset? How can I have an abundant mindset?
Okay. Firstly, it's just if I'm honest with you, I think it's about enjoying. This is what I say to my friends as well. It's about enjoying every single level, right? A lot of times you're at a level and you know,
powerful.
yeah, you're at a level and you want to run before you walk. A lot of people want to run before they learn to walk, you know.
Wow.
So, and firstly, who says you deserve anything? How do you deserve anything if you haven't even started a journey towards it?
I like that.
You understand what I mean? So you have to embrace the level. What level are you on now? You got to embrace it. Once you embrace it and you fully immerse yourself into it, you'd realize that things just start to become clearer to you. Things start to fall on your lap more, and then you start to have, that's where that desire, that quest for knowledge that I talked about earlier on, that's when it comes into play. You know, an example being, like, you know me, I travel a lot, right?
Yeah.
I travel a lot.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I know that if I went off and I spent loads of money, you know, in terms of on the material side of things, like the clothing and stuff,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to make certain investments. I wouldn't be able to invest back into my businesses, into properties, and so on and so forth. So
Right.
I'm enjoying the moment now. I'm enjoying the level I'm at now because I'm not at that level because I can't sustain it at the moment.
Okay.
I can't sustain that abundance sort of level we're talking about, you know. But I enjoy the moment, and guess what I do instead? I embrace my books. I embrace my research. I embrace my strategies. I embrace my action. Because once I embrace all of that, then you eventually, in a few short months or years, potentially, you'd move out of that scarcity mode, and then you'd find the bigger what do you call it, accomplishments, if you want to call it that.
So my other thing I want to add to what you're saying. Other question I want to ask you, what you're saying is, okay, what would you say to those people who do start? They do start.
Okay.
And they stop after 90 days.
Okay.
Or a short period of time.
Okay. For me.
Start complaining after that.
Okay. For me, I'll be honest with you. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm not a psychologist. Maybe just not everyone has it in them. But if I was to make a comment on that, if I'm honest with you, what I would say is they don't want it well enough yet. When you truly want something well enough, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Right. Let's use another example.
Okay.
Go without eating for 7 days.
Okay.
Right? Go without eating for 7 days. I lock you away without eating. No food, no water. You survive. Your body would go into some madness, but you'll survive. When I put the food in front of you, when I put the food a little further away from you, what are you going to do? Let's say I put the food about a quarter of a mile away from you. What are you going to do? But I'll put a platter, like everything.
I'm gonna jump over there and go eat that food.
Why would you go get the food? Why would you go get the food?
Because that's what I want right now. That's what makes sense to
Yeah,
me.
but why?
Because I'm hungry.
Why are you hungry? Why are you hungry?
Because that's my biggest. Like that's the top of my list. That's a must have.
Okay, what happens? What happens if you don't go and get that food and you stay hungry?
Nothing. The food is gonna go, but
What happens to you? What happens to you?
I'm dying.
There you go. That's your answer. So for people that have started and gave up after 90 days, it's because they ain't hungry enough. So maybe you need to starve a little more. Once you starve a little more, and you realize that, this is it, you would go for it.
Yeah.
You'd go for it.
I want to add into exactly what you're saying.
And just a quick one before you add.
Okay.
I think another problem people have, right? I think another problem people have is people get into the habit of trying to have it all figured out. The business I am currently undertaking at the moment is not the businesses that I started with. Remember, I used to do events. Remember I sold poppies? Remember I used to sell jumpers and hoodies in school? Remember I went into the corporate cleaning company? Do you know what I mean? Or commercial cleaning company, whatever you want to call it. And all of these businesses were a stepping stone to another business. And I think what the problem is in this day and time is people want to have that business, that the business that takes them all the way till the end. But what you don't realize is, you know, you got to go through a series of businesses, learn your mistakes. It might be a small business. Take that small business. That business might only be in your life to serve you a year, 7 months. You take the learnings from it, you take the profits from it, you reinvest it, and then you go on to bigger things. But yeah, go on. Add what you were going to add if you remember. Sorry.
There's something that I've come to realize that most people do not truly understand. Like we can say, hey, some people start up a business or they start up an idea and they stop because they're not very hungry, which is a very true statement.
Okay.
But there's also something that's happening within the person psychologically that is beyond that person's control if the person don't understand the knowledge of the mind.
Go on. Let's talk about it.
In your mind, most people's problem are stored in the human body, is stored in your nervous system.
Okay.
Your nervous system is deep rooted inside of you. So the core of your belief, meaning your programming, your deep root programming, is stored underneath. I mean, it's past your conscious mind. It's deep rooted into your subconscious mind. So consciously, one might want to change. Yes, they might strive to change consciously, but they are deep rooted in their subconscious mind. Is still they're running on a default program. Okay. So what people need to understand is for you to truly become successful, you need to go within that program and change the software of that program.
I agree.
So you need to start changing your self-image. You need to start changing the way you see yourself. You need to start. It's called. Most of us grew up under a spell called NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. Okay. We've been programmed by our family, by our environment, by everything that you've heard, you know. So I agree. You might think that this stuff is not possible for you because you're not from this country, I agree. Not from that place, you know, and that's a deep-rooted subconscious. So once you are, I agree. So once your subconscious mind has built a belief system, right? Yeah. Everything about the human being is going to be surrounded around that belief system. Okay. So in a sense, your subconscious mind makes like a bubble for you, like a bubble, like a mental electromagnetic field bubble. And that's the only place you can last. You can go up the bubble, down the bubble. That's why some people will feel like, yo, they're making a lot of money, then they spend it all to the exact amount that they started with. You know? And that's a problem. That's not their fault. You can look at them like, yo, you don't know how to save, something is wrong with them, you know, but it's a deep-rooted problem that people don't really look at. It goes back to what we spoke about earlier on before I got the camera out and stuff, and we spoke about people running on different frequencies. Like, I'll be honest with you, the stuff you've mentioned, totally agree with it, and it totally, you know, affects a lot of people, but never affected me and never will. But that's because I run on a totally different frequency. You understand? I don't know personally from experiences any of the things that you've spoken about, because I have no boundaries for myself, you know? So an example being, when you even talk about things like, let's say, you know, being a victim of racism, literally when I talk to people, I'm like, I don't recognize that. That's not me saying that racism doesn't exist, but I don't recognize it because personally, I refuse to be a victim. And what you touched upon is extremely crucial, because for you to be successful in, you know, materially, within the realms of, like, you know, material things and so on and so forth, you need to be successful spiritually. But that's why it comes down to all the things we spoke about, things like, you know, even little things like routines. Makes a huge difference. Things like, I remember I'd done a vlog one time and I talked about freeing your mind, going on a hike, you know, leaving the city. If you live in a city, leave the city. You know, things like this, genuinely. I go on a hike every there you go. Bro, it's beautiful. It literally nourishes your soul.
Like literally nourishes your soul. And again, believe it or not, it links back to some of the things we've spoken about. What books are you reading? Think about it. It's all programming, isn't it? How do you spend your free time? Let's talk about now. A lot of people spend their free time on what? House party and whatever else they've got going on now, like house party, social media. How do you spend your time? The way you spend your time determines what life challenges you're going to face. The reason why I don't face a lot of these life challenges is I remove myself.
So true, yo.
I'm telling you, I remove myself from that scene. I don't see those things. It doesn't affect me.
Bro, that's so true.
I instead, remember the book I recommended to you a while ago, The Power of Now. You guys should read it.
Yes,
The
sir.
Power of Now, right? Bro,
Like, it's something I could talk, right?
correct. Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle. I think I've said it right. You know, those are books that would literally change your life. Teaches you how to manage conflicts. Teaches you how to manage your emotion. Teaches you how to live in the present time. Teaches you how to appreciate things.
Wow.
You know, but again, it's all linked back, and I totally agree with what you're saying. But I think where I would add a bit of a twist to it is when you say people have no option, they're born into it. That's not true.
No, like you're not. No. Let me.
Connection's getting bad. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, connection is a bit bad, but 1 second, I'll give you a call back. Unfortunately, reception was too poor. We had to cut the conversation short. Thank you for watching, and see you next Sunday, or when next I upload, because I might start uploading twice a week now. So see you next time, and thank you for watching. Thank you for staying on my channel. Share it to your circle of friends as well. Thank you.